I will call the Cookeville City Council meeting for Thursday, November 21st to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Baji. Here. Councilman Walker.
Here.
Mayor Wheaton.
Here.
Vice Mayor Eldridge. Here. Councilman Gilbert. Here. Five present.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to ask those that wish to do so to stand for the invocation given tonight by Pastor Josh Hogan from First United Pentecostal Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, thank you for this day. Your many blessings upon us. Thank you, Lord, that we can gather together in a free country. And we have people that want to serve their country. Lord, I ask that you bless these leaders tonight, give them a spirit of a sound mind to make decisions, Lord, that will benefit the citizens of this community. And Lord, let us all be about your business. We'll give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Hold'em. Item 3, consider approval of agenda as presented. Are there any changes?
No changes.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Eldridge. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Baji. Go ahead and vote on that.
All votes correct. 5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. 5A, consider approval of minutes of council meeting held on November 7th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Eldridge. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Baji. Any discussion from the public?
Did you happen to say 7/7/24?
November 7th.
Sorry.
Oh, 10 years out. Or I spoke too fast. Sorry. Any discussion from the public? Discussion from,
I'm not for sure if I can say it now, but with comments that were made at the end of last meeting, can I speak to those now?
This is just for the minutes.
Just for the minutes.
Just for the minutes.
Thank you.
so do I have, we got a motion and a second. Do I have approval? Do I have any comments from the council
No.
for the minutes? Okay, go ahead and vote on that.
All votes correct. 5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. On the consent agenda, 6A, consider approval to purchase one 2024 Ford F-350 truck with service body utilizing state bid contract. Number 209 and 6B, consider declaring a surplus one side load garbage truck. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda? Motion made by Councilman Bachi. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Eldridge. Any discussion from the public? Discussion from the council? Okay, go ahead and vote.
All votes correct. 5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7A, consider resolution R24-1128, a resolution approving and authorizing the city manager to execute an infrastructure agreement and approve a grant to the Industrial Development Board of the Cookeville City of Cookeville for public infrastructure upgrades and improvements for the constructions of the Willow Shopping Center. Mr. Mills.
Mayor and council members, Mayor, as you stated, this resolution does two things. It approves an infrastructure agreement and also a grant for the completion of the Willows Shopping Center, which is located or will be located at the southeast intersection of South Willow Avenue and Interstate Drive. I think as most people know now, this development will have 2 anchor tenants and 4 out parcels. To do this development, it will require several infrastructure improvements, including signalizing the intersection of South Willow Avenue with Green Gate Lane. Green Gate Lane will have to be widened and the turn lane will have to be extended on it. In addition, there will be a dedicated northbound right turn lane installed on South Willow. And then the primary access to the development from the north will be from Green Gate Lane, hence the improvements to the lane needed. Access from South Willow will be right in, right out. So the grant will go to help cover these infrastructure costs necessary for the development. And as we stated on Monday, we're familiar with this developer. It's CHM LLC, which also developed what we consider to be the highly successful shops at Eagle Point, which is on Interstate Drive. The request in this is for $1,375,000 from the city of Cookeville and from Putnam County. Putnam County at their county commission meeting on Monday night did approve their portion of this grant match, which would be total $2,750,000. And again, that's to be used to offset the infrastructure cost and upgrades necessary for the development of the shopping center. As noted in the wording of the resolution, the grant will be paid to the Industrial Development Board, and the Industrial Development Board would transfer the funds to CHM upon satisfactory completion of the public infrastructure upgrades. And also, at least one of the anchors has to be fully open and operational for one day. It's anticipated that the infrastructure improvements will be completed by no later than October 15th of 26, so a little less than 2 years from now. If the first anchor, and this is important to note, does not open by October 15th, the city, and there can be extensions in this, but we're under no obligation to make the grant unless the infrastructure improvements are completed and one of the tenants is open. And we also talked about this on Monday. We believe this is the best way to go forward with these types of developments instead of a pilot or a tax increment financing. This is pretty much cut and dry. You deliver, you'll receive the money from us. And then once they're open, immediately we'll still generate property tax, but once they're open, we'll receive sales tax. We anticipate payback for this would be in less than 3 years. And I would recommend for your approval of Resolution 241128.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Eldridge, seconded by Councilman Walker. Any discussion from the public on this agenda item? Discussion from council?
I think it's worth noting that, and we get to keep the infrastructure improvements. So it's meaningful to highlight that.
We are the state, and that's correct.
That's right.
Yeah, that's an important detail on this.
The detail. Yeah.
And it does pay back over time.
Pays back quickly and we keep the assets.
Any other comment? All right, go ahead and vote.
All votes correct. 5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7B, consider approval of bid for Cookville Performing Arts Center and Dogwood Park improvements as submitted by HD Commercial, and authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with HD Commercial and issue a notice to proceed with the project. Mr. Woods.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. We advertised and received bids for this project, which you will recall improves the Performing Arts Center by renovating restrooms there that are nearly 50 years old, and expanding the women's side of that restroom, and also creates a new entry into Dogwood Park from Walnut Avenue. A nice landscape, beautiful entry. We received 5 bids, and we are recommending HD Commercial as the low bidder meeting specifications at $1.498 million. There's a little layout of the restroom facility. You will see the women's restroom is expanded on the left side of the screen there, and the men's restroom is altered a little bit, and but no building expansion on the men's side. And then we have the improvements in the entryway into Dogwood Park from Walnut Avenue. Walnut's the top of the screen there. But it comes along down and ties in with Dogwood Park nicely. So we're excited about this project, and I would request your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Gilbert. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Baji. Any discussion from the public? Discussion from council?
I would like to note that this came in well under budget, and I want to commend Mr. Woods for his work on this. So we're very excited about this project.
And when do we expect to start work on this again?
Well,
Yeah,
of course, we
ish.
execute the contract and do all that probably after the first of the year, sometime there. It's a 9-month completion project built in 9 months from the notice to proceed.
Thank you.
And CPAC is such a wonderful asset to our city, and everything that Leader Service does to make that available to the community. It's a really important part of our city's culture, and we're very lucky to have such a good facility and to bring it even more up to date. This is a very exciting time for downtown Cookville and everybody in the community.
Miles? All right, go ahead and vote.
All votes correct. 5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. 7C, consider authorizing the city manager to enter into a service agreement with Texas Eastern Transmission LP. Mr. Haney.
Mayor and council members, this is a renewal to our existing service agreement with Texas Eastern Transmission Pipeline. This agreement does provide Kubel with 2,500 decatherms of daily capacity in their pipeline. This capacity, we do need this to continue meeting customer needs and growth, so we do want to keep this. The term is for an additional 10 years, and I recommend your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Eldridge. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Baji. Any discussion from the public? Discussion from council? Okay, we'll vote.
All votes correct. 5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7D, consider awarding bid for the 2024 Spring Street Storm and Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project. Mr. Turner.
Mayor and members of the council, this project relocates and upsizes both the storm sewer, which is shown in blue, and the sanitary sewer shown in red here at Spring and Walnut. This project, we've talked about it a lot, and we're glad to be progressing up to this point. We received 3 bids, with John P. Hall Construction being the lowest bid at $1,512,225, and I recommend your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Eldridge, seconded by Councilman Walker. Any discussion from the public on this agenda item? Go ahead.
Hey, council. My name is Justin Davis. I know many of you, but for those who don't know me, I'm the owner of Vertical Coffee Company, and I've also got a lease at our current location and across the street at the corner of Walnut and Spring. So I know about the issues here. I've had water from this issue come into our buildings on a couple different scenarios. One thing I do want to commend you guys, this council, especially, and the last one, but especially this one, you guys have continued to do things that we need, not just the things that we want as citizens. This is part of that. Owning a business downtown, seeing these things, and being a part of a building that now has been made beautiful and to be a nice part of our community, as opposed to what I saw growing up was just an empty building with the car and no one knew what it ever was. Other than my dad washed his laundry there sometimes when their washing machine went out. But I appreciate you guys constantly doing those things on top of the things that we want. And those things tend to be more expensive, not quite as fun. But I do have a couple of questions related to this item specifically. One would be, why now? This has been an existing issue for a long time. I think this year kind of highlighted it with some social media presence with a lot of photos of how bad it became. And I think that was highlighted too by our occupancy now in the building and a couple other businesses there in the issue. But why now specifically? And consideration of maybe what the bid might have been compared to what you were hoping it to be. Second question would be the reasoning for this particular route behind our building. I'm having to meet with my insurance company to make sure I'm covered because I don't know details wise how long it's going to impact my business. A lot of my customers, one of the things we love about our city and about my business, I was even talking to a customer earlier, a lot of our people come in our back door, and this will significantly hamper our ability to run our business through our back door. And we will have access to the front of the street, but I know the problem is in the front of my building. So just curious, the reasonings, engineering wise, those types of things, why we're routing things behind my building when the problem exists in the front. And the last is a request. If I can get notification of when these types of things are going to happen, I tend to show up a lot of mornings with flashing orange lights, cones, my roadblock, Spring Street, Walnut, people digging stuff up, not a letter, not a phone call. I've got a cell phone, email, Facebook page, Instagram page. You can reach me a lot of different places. I'd love to just ask the council to consider talking to departments about better communication with the tenants, with people like myself who just a heads up so I can make a post and inform my customers and so that we can continue to operate and be a part of the city. Thank you.
Barry, can you speak to any of the?
Okay, yes, and we will contact you before we start anything. And right now it is projected to be probably March before the contractors are, but we'll be talking with you there. Sort of what brought this up is we've had the buildings, the sewer under the buildings, as you know, which we've had it on their plate as something that needs doing for quite some time. When a developer was doing something up there on Cedar and Spring, the sewer line needed to be upsized just a little bit in the section there along Spring. So we got him to pay for that. And while we were doing that part of the project, we felt like we needed to go ahead and do the rest of the project and make it continuous as opposed to disturbing everything up there twice. As far as going behind the building, the sewer line is going under the building. And the out front Spring is a state road. In the back, the city owns a right of way through there. So we didn't have to get easement through as much as we would, and we did not have to spend the cost and be out in the state road, whereas, you know, like you say, we'd be out there with cones or and traffic blocked when it were to occur again in the future. So with any problems. So we felt like this was the most cost-effective route.
Right.
So if I could, the sewer is what drove this project. When Barry decided that we had to upgrade the sewer, we knew we had a storm sewer issue, and Barry alluded to this. We didn't want to dig up Spring Street twice, so we budgeted to do both projects to include the storm sewer in it, because like I said, we didn't want to do this 1 year, then 2 years later, we dig it up for storm sewer. So that's what sped up the storm sewer part, then development drove the sewer part. But we've known there's been an issue there. We've tried to budget for it. We didn't plan to do it for a couple more years, but because this happened, that's what made it speed up. And then I think Barry's addressed why, where the lines are located. And there's really they all have to connect. If you've seen the map, you see where this all drains to. It's got to go that way to drain further to the southeast. And we will do a better job of notifying you.
Actually, real quick. I forgot to actually ask out loud. I said I had 2 questions, but 3. Do you have a anticipated length of time this could take? Because I'll need to make, you know, as a business owner, I would like the city, if you tell me 2 months, I'm good with it, as long as it's 2 months.
That's actually what he has told us, that he thinks he can knock that out in 2 months.
Yeah.
And that's the total project. So behind your building would be a whole lot shorter than that, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah.
We're not promising you 2 months.
Right.
It always takes longer than,
Yeah.
so don't be telling him 2 months. now.
As good as you guys are, I believe
We're
that.
gonna go as fast as we
Yeah.
can. That's about all we can say.
And like I say, that's from the contractor. So and it depends on, you know, how the weather is and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, if we run materials and, you know, who knows anymore? Well, we've run into problems all the time, so.
Well, once you get to my side, you can take as long as you want to not start. So I'm good with that. But no, I appreciate the comments and things. And, you know, again, if it's most cost effective, I mean, that makes sense. And hopefully we can weather the storm in the meantime. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just encourage everybody to sign up for text alerts from the city on the city's website. So we do have some of that, and everybody, the water department, public works do a good job about getting some of that stuff out. Not all of it, Justin, but they do try to get some of those notices via text, email, and other things. You kind of go customize that list.
Any other comments? Got a motion second. We've had discussion.
More comments.
Oh, sorry. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I wasn't sure if you guys of the contractors were aware, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 businesses from here to here that are going to be affected by all of this. And they will, I kind of thought more of them would be here tonight, but just back to the communication, if they can get a time frame, because I know this guy's trucks move through here, and they do have ample parking to come here and go across, but Gail has elderly people that always want to pull around the back to get their hair cut, and there are just some nuances within all the different buildings right here that are going to be affected with all that, and they would really appreciate just having a timeline and being able to kind of prepare for that before all this just gets uprooted. And we're all excited for this project, but they all have different ways that they're going to be affected by it.
Can we get your name for?
Ben Greening.
Thank you.
Any other comments in public? We've got comments from council. Okay, we're ready. We'll go ahead and vote.
All votes correct. 5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7D, consider awarding, oh, nope, wait. That's what we did. Sorry. 7E, consider awarding bid for electrical components to the water treatment plant generator project. Mr. Turner.
These items are for the water plant generator project that's covered through a ARP competitive grant. We bid these items with the help of the electric department to get the specs right. And this is for primary wire, switch gear, and transformer there on that project. The low bid being Gresco for the primary wire, Irby on the switch gear, and Deco for the transformer. Prices are there. I won't bother reading them. This list I need to for y'all's benefit. And I recommend your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Eldridge. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Baji. Any discussion from the public on this agenda item? Discussion from council? Okay, go ahead and vote.
All votes correct. 5 yes, motion carries.
Thank
Thank
you. Thank you. At this time, that concludes the agenda portion of this meeting. Is there anyone who would like to speak to the city council on any other items? George.
My name is Billy George, lifetime resident of Cookville, Mayor Wheaton and council. Thank you all very much for the opportunity to have public comment as well as putting the comments available in between sections where people can communicate, like the business owners there on that last agenda item. In recent notification of the HCA property becoming available, I would encourage the city to highly look at addressing and purchasing that property for the continued growth of what Mr. Walker spoke about, of the development of the West End area. A lot of people parked there, had parked there when it was technically illegal. The signs were posted, but, thankfully our city, police did not necessarily address that. And with the business owners or the owner of the property at the time, they were fine with it. So I encourage the city to look into somehow financing that. In regards to a few other things, there's a couple questions and statements about the parade. Questions that have been arisen to a few people have been accessibility measures, whether it be that there might be a section that could be specifically for people in wheelchairs, because not always can they get there in a direct manner where somebody would be standing in front of them to impede the visibility. Whether there would be maybe a spot for sensory, whether that's farther down on the depot side, where it might be a little bit quieter, things for those kids who might have autism, or even potentially those who have hearing disabilities, where an ASL interpreter for something within where the music and all that bigger stuff is kind of going on, just for the accommodating of all the community members as a whole. I mean, I know that the school system has those services available, and potentially a partnership with Putnam County School System could become available for that type thing. Also, I would like to address a couple things. Councilman Bocci, you mentioned last week that, or 2 weeks ago, that the parade, that the Cookville Christmas Parade, the Cookville Christian Christmas Parade paperwork did not require the statement of faith being signed by individuals who wanted to participate. However, on page 3 of the 12-page document, it says, please return this form signed, rules, liability waiver, and the WCTE waiver. And then on page 4 at the top, it states general rules, please read carefully, and then it states the statement of faith. Completely after that, with a number of different things correlating to quote unquote Christian beliefs, which is perfectly fine, nothing wrong with that in any capacity. However, when you said that it's not required in order to participate, I will object that it actually was in order to participate in that requirement. I do appreciate the city did pick up the parade in regards to that. The city of Allgood, Baxter, and Monterey, they all take care of their parades. And so I think that it is beneficial that the city of Cookville does that and continues to have it be an inclusive for all of the family members of the community, not just those who believe the way you believe. Hanukkah is coming. We also have Kwanzaa. Those are both right around Christmas time for those members of our community that also adhere to those religions, or those who are practicing within those faiths. Also, we will state, and Mr. Eldridge, or Vice Mayor Eldridge, you stated that you strongly disagreed with having political parties and or the entity of using Christmas parade to grandstand and push an agenda or an ideologies. I feel that at times, a lot of churches do that themselves. And so in that comment, I would hope that that would have also applied to different churches potentially pushing ideologies. But thank you all very much again for having the Christmas parade and taking that up for the community.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to the council? Okay, any comments from the council? Okay, meeting is adjourned.